Yo, yo. What up, everybody? Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the late night gang. Let's get this game connected. All right. Finally figuring out how to use playback. Uh, what up, everybody in the chat? Three keys. Looking at actually two of Stu's keys are my keys tonight. And you could argue all three keys are my keys, but for me, key number one is going to be the points in the paint slash interior battle. Lakers won the points in the paint battle by nearly 20 on Tuesday against Utah. They also got to the free throw line a lot, which was in part them getting downhill, getting into the paint. And they also won the offensive rebound and second chance battle. So I think that's a key area of this game that the Lakers not only have to win, but dominate, similar to on Tuesday. Second thing is going to be turnovers. Looking at the Lakers splits in terms of wins versus losses, one of the key trends in losses for the Lakers is really struggling with turnovers. So when they're in the high teens or even low 20s, that's when they get into that danger zone of potentially losing a game or letting an inferior opponent have a shot. So you don't want to turn the ball over in especially on the road, but against this type of team. And pace is another sort of sub factor of this, but that's where turning the ball over can turn a game into more of a track meet and more fast break opportunities for the opponent. But there's also a correlation between when the Lakers play slower, they actually that's tends to be when they win, and when there's like a two possession gap between wins and losses for LA, about 100 possessions in wins, 102 possessions in losses. So they want to play a little bit slower and a little bit more controlled of an environment. And then the third thing, you could say the 3-point battle, right? Although Utah technically won it on Tuesday, it was I think they're +2 beyond the arc. But for me, it's going to be more of the off-ball defense and communication, and that does blend into some of the paint and interior battle. But the way that Utah sliced the Lakers up in that first quarter, in particular, was with a slew of off-ball miscommunication from LA and soft switching and just some of the passive trends we've seen with LA's defense that can be troubling at times. So I think for LA, we saw a shift in that second half, in that third quarter, where they started to switch more aggressively and try to make the ball handler get back on their heels and sort of disrupt them and be more forceful with how they're switching and not inviting drives and pull up jumpers and whatnot, and sort of just getting them out of their comfort zone. So I think those are the three areas for me tonight that are really going to determine the game. Like, how can LA hold up in the paint, in the interior battle? Are they winning the rebounding battle? Are they getting easy baskets in the paint? Are they getting to the free throw line? Like, that's one side of it. The other side is the turnovers. They have to take care of the ball. They do not want to give up a bunch of easy opportunities to this Utah team that does they're I believe top 5 or top 6 in pace. So like they want to play a certain way. Lakers want to play a much slower way. So Lakers got to be careful there. And then the off ball actions and overall how the Lakers are switching and communicating, because that's been one of the weaknesses of this defense so far, and something that I think they have to continually emphasize in terms of their defensive game plan. But if you guys got any questions, let me know. Mr. TD asks, is Adu available? No, Adu is not available. Adu and Bronny are both with South Bay. All right, increasing the media so I could hear a little bit of what they're saying. What's up, King Servant? Social Rin, Adam, Mo Love, Spyrex. Mo Love asks, what adjustments from the previous game do you think LA will make offensively? Any new looks? I think they'll try to incorporate LeBron more in more scoring opportunities, and probably some more 2 and 3 man game with LeBron and Luca, LeBron and AR, and then the three of them together. I think we're going to see a more aggressive LeBron offensively. I mean, you see him here doing the chalk toss and he's dancing and in a good mood. So I think the first game was more of a feel out process. It was functionally LeBron's preseason. And you could argue tonight is the second preseason game for him, but I think having the break in the schedule is good for him coming off of the extended break due to injury. And I think we're going to see a more aggressive LeBron. Defensively, I think you're going to see more of what we saw in that second half with LA being more aggressive with their switching. But I would say like not anything crazy offensively. I think it's just going to be more looking to incorporate LeBron. Long Johnson, can the Lakers send Vando to the G League, give him 20 to 25 minutes of strict 3-and-D play time? Uh, Technically, yes, but that would be such a viewed as such a demotion and such a like slap in the face that I don't think they would actually do that. Lakers on the tip. Deep three from Austin. Don't love that shot, but shot clock was winding down. Svi is very involved in this offense. It's interesting to watch. Nurkic. Nurkic is the gift that keeps on giving for the Lakers defense. He is a turnover machine. Some contact there on that LeBron drive. Didn't get the call. Nice feed there from Keontae, but Svi misses it. Another transition opportunity for LeBron, but the Euro step for the dunk. So I mentioned a more aggressive LeBron. He's already taken two of the Lakers' first three shots. Will Hardy with the quick timeout. All right. Mo Love says white unis on a white court hard to watch. Yeah, it's. I feel like the jersey stuff has gotten a little out of hand. You can call me a traditionalist, but I would prefer the Lakers wear purple on the road or even the black on the road, and then wear white and yellow at home, and maybe the black occasionally. But the jerseys have gotten out of hand in terms of you got the road team wearing their home jerseys on the road, and then the home team's wearing the road jerseys, and it's too confusing. And I miss the days of the home team wears white, and then you have the Lakers as the exception wearing gold, and then the road team wears their color, and that's it. What's up, Lakers aides? King Servant says, I think the white should be worn as little as possible. Yeah, it's supposed to be Sunday whites. So Sunday is today, but assuming Utah wore their whites, it obviously wouldn't make sense for the Lakers to wear their whites. But Utah's wearing their purples, so yeah, I'm not quite sure. But I agree in general. The whites should be Sundays and like when it makes sense to wear them. They should be more of an exclusive jersey. Some guy says hilarious timeout. Yeah, I do respect Will Hardy is up there with JJ in terms of the coaching crash out. There are some coaches, Eric Spolstra, Steve Kerr, JJ, Will Hardy. They have very entertaining crash outs with their teams, and Will Hardy's up there. He had a couple of good ones in the game on Tuesday. So yeah, so far LA is 1 for 3. Utah is 0 for 1 with a turnover. And of course, that's Yusuf Nurkic, who had 6 turnovers on Tuesday. ADPOY, who will convince Nike to get rid of the banana yellow? I don't know, but maybe Mark Walter uses his the Dodger magic to get it reversed. See, we've about doubled in size, so welcome everybody. Keontae gets downhill for the runner. Lakers' interior defense has to be better. That's a big point of emphasis. Ooh, that Luca pass. DeAndre. Brilliant pass from Luca. LeBron typically finishes that. Ayton typically finishes that. But a couple downhill drives and floaters for Utah. That's LA's got to be sharper. Nice take from Austin. That's Nurkic has got a Nurkic just got big boyed. Good defense from Rui. Aurora's asked if I miss traveling with the team. I did not directly travel with the team. I was not on the team plane, but I did obviously travel through the athletic in terms of expensing flights and hotels and all that. I do to an extent. Like from a work life balance perspective, there are certainly benefits to not traveling. Like right now, I wouldn't be able to do this if I was traveling. I'd be in the arena at the game, so it is for like what I'm trying to build here and what I'm trying to do, that there are certainly benefits. More time with my wife. I think I have a like in a way, like traveling was almost its own full-time job. With the Lakers have played more games on the road than at home so far. So you look at that and like it is that there. I enjoyed the travel, but it was definitely physically taxing. Early flights after late game nights, different time zones, you're exposed to a lot in the arenas and planes and just traveling a lot. Like, I feel like I'd constantly be sick and just sort of trudging through it. But I definitely miss it. I'm not going to lie. I do think after traveling for 7 years, it was time to not travel as frequently. And I'm going to the Boston game in a couple weeks, and that'll probably be like Boston and the Clippers. I think are the only games I'm going to before the end of 2025 on the road. But then in 2025, I'll be going San Francisco, New York, maybe Denver, maybe Phoenix. So I'm still going to end up traveling to about 10 road games. And if they go to the NBA Cup Finals, I'll be there. Night, Luca, man. Luca is special. Double teamed, draws the foul, and gets the N1. Connor Phillips, I don't understand why people stick their arms in there. I don't either, but it's as MJ said in one of his more famous commercials, you reach, I teach. That's what Luca does. That's terrible off ball defense. Lakers defense to start this game has not been good, but the offense has been good. Nice feed from LeBron, nice cut from Austin, nice finish from him. Second finish on the left side with his right hand. I think Aiton's got to be better there, and then Luca and Austin have to sandwich rebound better there. That's way too easy for Luca. You gotta can't let Luca get into the paint like that. King's servant asking if they let me ride on the bus to the games. No. So the only people who would ride on the plane, and that's a terrible pass from Austin. The only people that would let me or the only people that ride on the plane and the bus that are media are the team partners. So that would be Spectrum, which would be Mike Trudell, Stu, Billy Mack, any of the producers, and then ESPN LA people. So John Ireland, Michael Thompson, and the producers with that group. So it's got to be like the team sanctioned media. Technically, when I was with the Athletic, or even now, if I travel on the road, I'm not team sanctioned media. So like those are official team partners. And Trudell is a unique case because he does Spectrum and ESPN LA, and he technically is also a Lakers employee because he's the official team reporter. So Trudell is very embedded within the Lakers and is technically like the Spectrum people and the ESPN LA people are not technically Lakers employees, but they are partners. Trudell is works in Nurkic 3. Not the best start for LA defensively, but again, the offense has looked pretty good. That they're doing a good job of mismatch hunting and putting. Luka's had some nice deep post ups, which I guess has been an adjustment trying to get him closer to the basket against like Svi and Keontae can't guard him. Yeah, that's bad transition D from LA. All right, so this continues. Honestly, one thing I didn't mention that I had mentioned earlier in the week that I was curious about was like the Lakers have this history of coming out after a multi-day break and not looking good. Specifically, if you think about like opening nights, didn't look good against Golden State on opening night. Typically, after the All-Star break, that first game, they've lost a lot of those games or looked pretty slow and sluggish. For whatever reason, they always have these odd starts coming off of a multi-day layover. But again, so far I think I've liked the offense. Smart's in for LeBron, which I like from a defensive perspective in terms of keeping like a communicator out there. But the defense has been uh, somewhere between bad and atrocious to start. Nice shot from Rui. That's a really tough shot. Contested corner three. And Ace Bailey's big. Nah. Austin's been a little sloppy to start this one. Second turnover. Two for Austin. Three turnovers already for the group. Two for Austin. One for Luka. Mr. TD says you need the playback link. And I mean, to be completely honest, I make more money off of YouTube views than playback views. So I'm okay with people watching it on YouTube. The CPM is higher on YouTube than playback, but playback allows me to watch the game in a way that YouTube doesn't. This is all right. So the keys we talked about: winning the paint battle, turnovers, and the off-ball defense. So far, Utah's shaken loose off the ball multiple times. Utah's outscored LA 14-12 in the paint, and LA has turned the ball over 3 times to Utah just once. So the 3 keys I highlighted all so far are going in Utah's favor, and that's why Utah's up 20-17. Sarah says YouTube is a good minute behind. Okay, that is good to know. I mean, if you guys want to come in to playback, I posted it on Discord. I can post it. I'll bring up the YouTube in a second and post it there. But about to share it in. I posted it on X and Discord for those who want to watch on playback. But Posting now in the chat on YouTube. All right, back. Some guy 8822 low ass energy. Yeah, and this continues to be an issue with this group in terms of the slow starts in the first quarter. I've talked about this all week that the one quarter the Lakers have a negative net rating is the first quarter. They're winning all three other quarters and they keep digging themselves into these holes that they have to play their way out of. And I think if they just started games with more energy and more focus, you would see that's probably the difference in their net rating right now. Like if you look at their net rating over the other three quarters, they are more in line with that. Not OKC because OKC's in its own class, but like that Denver Houston really dominating and blowing teams out. It's been they're getting their butts kicked in the first quarter, and that is offsetting how well they play the rest of the game. Also, I don't know if you guys, for those who are watching the game, you can hear this song. I don't know when this song became like the go-to song in arenas, but it the Timberwolves played it all the time leading into the opening tip in the playoffs and last season, and it's really annoying. Another, I have to rewatch that to see if that was more Jackson or Austin, but regardless, there's another turnover. Filipowski is playing in this game. He's better than Nurkic. Wonder if he ends up playing more. Kevin Love way off. What is the reason AR guards Keontae George? I mean, they don't really have an alternative on the floor right now. I guess the alternative would be Marcus, but they prefer him on wings. Like they've been using Austin and Gabe more as the point of attack guys. Big three from Smart there. It's good to see him hit a corner three. I mean, for what it's worth, Austin is quicker than Smart. He's not a better like. There's a distinction there. It doesn't mean he's a better defender, but he is quicker than Smart. Nice block from Rui. So some Rui rim protection there. Really nice take from Austin. I've been really impressed with Austin's finishing over bigs lately. He's dropping that shoulder, creating that contact, and then using that to create some space on the shot. That was a really nice take. Rui's got to close out better than that, but it was fine for, result was fine. Nice feed from Luka. Nice finish from Rui. All right. Lakers looking back in this. They're up 4. Much better play from LA coming out of the timeout. After immediately a turnover, but then after that, Rui with the that was a really nice block. That's Austin taking it out of 7-footer, 6'11", whatever Filipowski is. Whew. That decel from Luka, man. That is such a tough shot. Such a tough finish. And behind the back, I mean, ridiculous. Connor Phillips, I think he has the best slow step in NBA history. Can't think of anyone better. Yeah, I mean, the king of the Euro step, or one of the primary people who brought it over to the NBA was Manu, but his was obviously much quicker. And then we've seen, I think the only other guy who has a similarly effective decel is Harden, but I think Luca goes to it much more. Like Luca's a better finisher, and he goes to it much more often than Harden does. Jake's got to take that. That's see terrible pass from Kevin Love there. Then Luca takes that. That's fine. Jake looks like he just took a shot, but he's got to take that open three. This Utah bench is terrible, by the way. Mr. TD says Ant Man. Mo Love says Manu. Yeah, Jake's got to take that. You're open from three. You got to take that. Lakers now starting to see. Wessel says Fox. That's a good one too. All right, let's see how LA closes the quarter. Up 6 with about a minute and a half left. Nice pass from Luca. Rod says we have a term for that playing street ball in the Philippines, contratiempo. That's cool. Thank you for sharing. Isaiah Collier with a nice finish there. Helping off of Rui one pass away is a choice. It's not a choice I would advise to an opposing defense, but so LA goes with 8 guys in the first quarter with Marcus 6-man. Usually Jake checks in before Hayes or at the same time as Hayes, but Jake checked in a little bit later. Rui now checks out. So I guess, are they going? I was looking at the box score. Did LeBron just check back in? Yeah. Slothanova says, found out that Puerto Rico hat Luca was wearing was JJ Barea's company. I did not know that, but I will look into that and potentially buy the same hat. I'm not really a hat guy because you guys know I'm not about the hair, but I feel like I look weird with a hat anyway. Torres asks, Jovan, could you see yourself going to broadcasting? I mean, I would argue this is sort of its own form of broadcasting, right? Not traditional play by play or color commentating. It's a different beast, and I prefer deep three from Luca there. I prefer the YouTube and also once if you're working for the league or you're working for a team, it just changes how like I couldn't do as much analysis and it becomes a little bit or I could do analysis, but you got to be very careful of not to be too critical or what you say, and you could get in trouble for certain things, which I still have right now, but it's a little bit looser. So I think that the big thing for me would be being an analyst on TV. I'd be very interested and open to that, but not direct. So I guess I assumed by broadcasting like game specific broadcast halftime, all that stuff. I'd be very interested in that. Like in many ways, Mike Bresnahan has a dream job that if that were open to me, and similar path in terms of he was a long time LA Times beat writer and then eventually went to Spectrum and does the pregame, postgame, halftime. And I think doing that plus what I'm doing would be like the best of both worlds of having the national big platform, having the TV full time, and then also being able to do my own thing with YouTube and the podcast and live streaming. That would be sweet. So end of first quarter, LA's up 32-30. All things considered, I mean, I guess you take being up, but five turnovers, far too many. Three for Austin, two for Luca. LA is winning the rebounding battle, but they're also winning the points in the paint battle. They made up the early ground that they were trailing in the second half of the first. They have taken three free throws to Utah's two. So I would say overall they're winning the interior battle right now. Utah is winning the turnover battle. It's 5-3 in turnovers in Utah's favor. And then the off ball battle, LA had some severe breakdowns in that quarter. Utah isn't really making them pay, only 4 for 13 on threes, 31%. So LA's kind of getting away with that right now, but against certain teams, you're going to get buried if you're now. Again, as we mentioned before, Utah is a specific type of off-ball team, so really only Golden State tests you in the way that Utah does with their off-ball actions. Torres says he loves Beyond the Block, hopes it could grow to a couple times a week. Yeah, that's definitely on my plate. Like, I'm trying to, first and foremost, my Lakers coverage is my bread and butter, and that's the primary thing. But I am trying to grow the non-Lakers or just national coverage more as well. Connor Phillips, do you think we lock in the second to build a lead, or is a repeat of last game where we let them stick around into the second half? I'll say the Lakers pull away here a bit, or that's what they should do. Let's see. Second unit lineup: Gabe, Austin, Aiton, Luca, Jake. I like 4/5 of this lineup. I've said it before. I don't love Austin and Gabe together. I think they're the two smallest players in the rotation, and I think it gives a bit of an entry point to the opposing defense. But in general, I like this lineup. I do like Aiton, LeBron, and Luca. I mean, Aiton, LeBron, and Austin together, and then Jake as the fourth guy. I'd probably prefer this fifth guy be, I guess, Marcus, and then put Gabe with Luca. I think you could kind of rotate the fifth guy. Nice feed from LeBron. But yeah, I'll say Lakers pull away and get up like 8-12 going into the half. So it looks like they're selectively switching with DeAndre. Well, as I say that, DeAndre falls on a switch. Yeah, that's not good defense. Not good defense from the Lakers so far. LeBron's been a little rusty on his finishing tonight. Angelo says, "Imagine if it was Keon here instead of Gabe." Yes, that would be quite the upgrade on multiple fronts. Honestly, another Nurkic turnover, like clockwork. Ah, Lakers have missed so many bunnies tonight. Ooh, nice take from Sensabaugh. Well, I'm not feeling great about my 8 to 12 point lead at halftime, but we'll see. They still got 10 minutes left. It's not been a good start with this group. Drew says, "Do you mean a little rusty?" Nice play on words there. Yeah, I guess. Connor says, Aiton getting outworked by Nurkic doesn't make me feel good. There's certainly been stretches here where Nurkic has outworked him. Nurkic has really got. I mean, how many times did we see like the Lakers just take advantage of him in those Phoenix matchups over the last couple of years? He's the turnovers in the interior defense are real concerns with Nurkic, but yeah, so far he's won some of the battles against Aiton. Deep three from Austin. He's he said something. I'm not quite sure what. Uh this defense is I don't know what like Austin got beat, so that's partly on him. But I don't know. Like Aiton is supposed to be the help there. He's supposed to be the last line of defense. I don't know why he didn't slide over. Ibrahim asks, "Why haven't you been going to the away games this season?" Well, now I'm paying for big three there by LeBron. Now I'm paying for my own travel. So with how much travel costs, it's probably close to like 1,000 per game. I mean, depends on where. Like some of the closer places, San Francisco, Sacramento, Phoenix, those are a little bit less, but the average road game I would say costs about 1,000. So I'm going to the Boston game in a couple weeks, and then Lakers defense is a mess right now. Then I'm going to probably around like 8 to 10 games. But I mean, the official reason is I'm no longer with the Athletic, and they were paying for my travel, so I would go to 35 plus regular season games and all the playoff games. Right now, the plan is about 8 to 10 regular season games and then all the playoffs. Mr. TD says Lakers are going through the motions. Not been a great start from LA. Last Dubai Prince says morning everyone morning, afternoon, evening everyone, and Jovan Buha. It's 5:42 a.m. right now. Just woke up and immediately logging on. That is a true Lakers fan right there. Shout out to the last Dubai Prince. Eugene says, "Is anyone going to call out how slow LeBron is playing, jogging back every possession? This is rough." It has been like the Lakers, I think collectively are not playing with the greatest urgency and effort right now. You could put that on LeBron as well. I mean, I would look at 5 assists. He has been passing the ball well, and the 2 steals has been playing passing lanes, but not the most spirited start for him or for anyone else. I don't think it's fair, or I would not agree with just putting this on LeBron. But as prolific five says, he looks winded. Like, yeah, I think he's still got the baby lungs. Aurora's favorite, Jovan. Who are some of your favorite players to watch non Lakers? I will. Let's go through the standings here. AJ Mitchell, I really like AJ Mitchell, and I think there's a lot of Jalen Brunson in his game, but to me, he seems like I do think he's going to follow that Brunson Harden path of eventually being a guy who's too good to be coming off the bench or in like a complementary role. And I could see him breaking out as a lead ball handler and scorer in a for a different team, and maybe at some point OKC flips him and like a pick or picks for, another star or high impact player. But like, I think AJ Mitchell is a player who will one day deserve his own team. Denver, Aaron Gordon, I really liked his start to the season. It's unfortunate he's about to be out 4 to 6 weeks. Really like Peyton Watson. San Antonio, Stephon Castle, of course, Wemby, Houston, Şengün, and Tari Eason. Phoenix, I like Gillespie. His name is, I don't know why, always tough for me to say. Portland, Denny, Kamara. And then in the East, I would say Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson for Detroit. And I'll go back to that in a sec. I want to focus on the game now. Jalen Johnson, Mr. TD says in the chat, yes, love Jalen Johnson and have him on my fantasy basketball team. So that helps too. Lakers are. This is not a good start to this game. There's just no resistance. Like Utah's a bottom 4 defense, and they are giving the Lakers way more resistance than the Lakers are giving them right now. And no one. Honestly, I think the Lakers are getting lucky right now. Utah's missing a bunch of open looks. That nice help there from both LeBron to first stymie the drive and then Ayton to actually block the shot. That was good help defense. But LA's been. I will say Utah's getting away with some contact in the paint. I think they've been pretty, especially on those lob passes and entry passes, they've been pushing the Lakers, but that's such an iffy call that like you're not always going to get that, and sometimes you just have to play through that. Well, of course, Jokic. You guys know Jokic is one of my 3 favorite players ever. So, but in the East, Jaime Jaquez, uh, Atlanta Johnson. I do like Mo Gay. I mean, that game he had against the Lakers was like an out of body experience for him. But Lakers went back to not the start. I mean, this is the starters plus Gabe, which might be JJ's preferred starting lineup, honestly. The finishing tonight has been atrocious. They've probably left like 12 points on the table at least. Here you go. I think Austin should have just taken that in for a layup. Yeah, as people are noting in the chat, I don't. The body language tonight has not been great. Just in general, like the team's just a bit lethargic. They look like a team that hasn't played in 4 days. Nice jumper there from LeBron. I think LeBron's looking more comfortable. Nice finish there from LeBron. Nice Euro. Oh man, I feel like JJ Redick right now. I'm about to crash out over how bad this defense has been. I will note, and this is not an excuse. This is just Utah is the second highest altitude in the NBA behind Denver, and really the only two places that altitude affects the game. So I wonder if, particularly for LeBron not having his full conditioning, if the altitude is like we've seen guys obviously be affected by that in Denver. Utah is the only other place that really that's a factor. Shouldn't be like this big of a factor, but yeah, the Lakers have just they look tired. They look not connected right now. I don't know what's going on here. You guys don't want to see my JJ impression. I'll get kicked off YouTube and playback. Yusuf Nurkic. Luka's just automatic in the mid range, man. He is shooting. I'm gonna pull it up in a second, but he just does not miss. Nice defense there from Jackson. Actually contesting a floater slash lob pass. Who thought that was possible? Luka right now is shooting from that range. I mean, depending on where he's at, either 62% in from 3 to 10 feet or 58% from 10 to 16. Both of those are elite marks. Kevin Love has been unplayable in this game. What a lob from Luka. Wow. I like this Luka led bench group. That this group makes a lot of sense together. I like Luka, Rui, and Jackson with and even Gabe as the fourth guy. I think like we were talking about earlier, Aiton, LeBron, Austin, Jake, I think makes a lot of sense. And then I think Luka, Gabe, Rui, Jackson, because you got the Luka Jackson pick and roll, you got Rui and Gabe spacing. I think that and then that fifth guy can rotate. Like I think Marcus can play in either lineup, and those are like the foundations of the bench groups around each specific set of stars. But JJ once again going with 9 guys tonight, and no Vando. Does not look like Vando is going to play, or no Dalton, no Maxi. So it seems like we had been talking about the rotation and what we thought it was potentially going to look like. That played out on Tuesday. Now it's playing out again. Lakers going with 9 guys, no Vando, no Maxi, no Dalton. Kevin Love cannot look. I love Kevin Love, but he cannot make an entry pass to save his life right now. Kind of got bailed out there. Not much you can do there if you're Rui. I think that was fine defense. Grand Hair, do you think Luca's second playmaker has to shoot threes like Kyrie, and that's why him and Austin are not as good? Kyrie was shooting threes and cooking in third quarters. Yes, I do. And that was actually, if you go back to, I did an off-season video on one key stat or number that I'm looking at for each Lakers player this season. And for Austin, it was his catch and shoot 3-point shooting, because he has been under 30% in each of the past 2 playoff series. Denver first round 2024, Minnesota first round 2025. And for his career, he's been at around like high 30s, 40%. But in the small sample of the playoffs, which that's just how the playoffs are, it has notably dipped. Not as much in that 2023 run, but definitely in the past couple of. He actually shot it well in the 2023 run, but not the last couple of first round series. And I think Austin has to be at least like 38, 39% because the stat I've noted is Jalen Brunson 2022 when they made the conference finals and Kyrie 2024 when they made the finals. Both of them shot 40+% on catch and shoot threes and were able to function at a high level next to Luka. With especially in the playoffs, how much Luka is gonna have the ball, you need to be able to hit catch and shoot spot up threes. And Austin did not do that in the Minnesota series. And I think that's the number I'm tracking all season with Austin is how's he shooting the ball. And there's a difference between the regular season and playoffs, right? Like if you had to pick between the two, you'd rather him shoot better in the playoffs than the regular season. Ideally, he does both. But right now, not off to a good start with Austin in terms of his shooting. And that is a long-term thing I'm watching in terms of the viability of a Luka AR pairing. Lakers are starting to pull away a little bit here. What a pass. Second behind the back pass from Luka. Marcus hitting a three. There you go. If he just shoots league average from three, that's your starting, fifth starter there. Nice offensive rebound from Kevin Love. I think Lakers are getting a little lucky here with some of the shot quality from Utah. They are getting a bunch of open looks. Erev says Utah's elevation might be playing a part. Guys look gas, especially LeBron. I think it could be playing a part. I don't want like you guys know I don't like making excuses, whether it's the refs, whether it's the elevation, like whatever it is. I even the second night of a back to back, like I like to acknowledge it and at least like factor it into the analysis. But the Lakers are starting to look progressively better. They've technically outscored Utah in both quarters so far. So it's not been the sharpest game by any means. And the defense against better, like if they were playing like this against the Denver or Houston or an OKC, they'd probably be down double digits right now. But they're up 4. So we'll see how they close the half. Angelo says Austin's three will improve. He works so hard every offseason. I mean, for what it's worth, like Austin has been a good 3-point shooter. If we look at, so he shot 32% as a rookie and his jumper was shaky, but then 40% 2023, 37% 2024, 38% last season, and then 33% this season. So it should bounce back into that. I mean, he's been between 37% and 40% the last 3 seasons, which are ranging from like solid to really good marks, especially on like higher volume. And the playoffs is where he shot 44% in 2023, the Western Conference Finals run, which is obviously an elite mark. Then against Denver, he shot 27% on threes. And then against Minnesota, he shot 32% on threes. So that's where like the last 2 postseasons, if you combine them, he's at 30% overall, which is far too low. League average for what it's worth, depending on the seasons, around 36 to 36.5%, or 35.5 through to 36.5, depending on the year. So we'll just say 36 for to keep it simple. So you want to be around at least 36%, ideally. But for a Luka co-star, a Luka off-ball co-star, like you want to be closer to 40. So Austin's done it in the regular season, basically the last 3 years, and he did it the first year in 2023. But he's had a couple of off shooting series against Denver, Minnesota. And the thing with the playoffs is if you have an off shooting series, you lose in 5 games, as the Lakers did in each of the last 2 postseasons. So not to put it all on Austin, to be clear, there's far more factors in it than that. But like you just like you know your margin for error in the playoffs is basically non-existent. All right, I like Rui's defense so far in this possession. Good defense there from Luca. Great defense there from Luca. Great defense there from Luca. Forced the air ball. Step back three, missed. Ay, ay, ay. this team, this team and their defense. One cool thing for those who I did a vlog about it before for those who follow me on TikTok and Instagram, but the one of the cool things with Utah is they have the I would say the best media food. It's between them and Detroit, but their media food is also like their VIP section. Great steal or great play there by Marcus. That's exactly what you want to see. Lakers might stretch this to 8, as I predicted. But Utah's media food is they have like every food you could think of, which most media dining does not have, and then they also have crumble cookies. If you like crumble, they're one of their sponsors, so they just have boxes of crumble cookies in addition to a bunch of other dessert. There's some contact there, but nice take from Austin. So I would say Lakers are getting lucky with the amount of open looks Utah's missed, but the Lakers have been unlucky with the amount of layups and lob finishes that they've missed. So I guess it sort of evens out, but it does feel like LA. There's a version right now. Utah's 6 for 23 on threes. They've missed at least like 5 wide open threes. That there's a version of this game where Utah's hit like 10, 11, 12 threes and they're up by a bit. But there's also a version of this game where the Lakers make their layups and they're up by like 15. So probably evens out. Angelo notes that Lakers are going small to close the half here. I mean, I guess against Nurkic, you can kind of do that with the switching. Big three from Rui. Lakers have hit a lot of like momentum shots in this game. Yeah, they're not worried about Nurkic. If anything, going smaller against Nurkic, you can poke the ball away. Could be a DA thing. DA has that's we talked about DA versus Nurkic. Or another Luka. Okay. So I said 8 to 12. They got it to 7. LA up by 7 at the half, 62-55. They closed both quarters much better than they started both quarters. So at half, Luka has 15 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 2 turnovers, 6 of 14 shooting, 1 for 6 on threes, 2 for 2 at the line. Austin, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnovers, 5 for 8, 1 for 2 on threes. LeBron, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. They took away a steal. He's at 1 steal, 2 turnovers, 5 of 11 shooting, 0 for 2 on threes. Rui, 10 points, 3 rebounds, and a block. That was a really nice block, 4 for 6. Field goals, 2 for 3 on threes. DeAndre Ayton, who has been dealing with an illness, was clear to play. 2 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal. And then off the bench, Jake LaRavia, 5 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Jackson Hayes, 2 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist. Marcus Smart, 6 points, hit a couple of threes. Then 0 points, 1 rebound, and a steal from Gabe. He has not attempted a shot. LA is shooting 52% overall, 35% on threes. Only 3 free throws for the Lakers. So to be up by 7 with only 3 free throws in the half, that's a win based on Utah's taking 10 free throws. Lakers have not been getting many calls. I think there's been a lot of contact in the paint. On the Utah side, Keontae George is the only player in double figures, 11 points. He continues to give the Lakers some problems. And then looking at the overall team stuff, Lakers have a 113 offensive rating right now, which is below average. So the offense hasn't been quite where you want it to be, but 99.8 defensive rating, which is amazing. It's even better than the Thunder's league leading mark. That's in line with the Lakers' performance against New Orleans and Milwaukee. That's a great number. Plus 12.7 net rating for LA right now. That's also a great number. Then looking at some of the other metrics, assists, LA's up 15-13, steals 6-5, blocks 1-0. Turnovers, Utah turned the ball over more in that second quarter. So now they've actually turned the ball over more than LA. Utah's turned the ball over 9 times, leading to 8 Lakers points. Lakers have turned the ball over 8 times, leading to 4 Utah points. Lakers have a 17-8 fast break advantage, and they missed like 4 layups during that process. So they should probably have like 25 fast break points, 38-30 in the paint for LA. So they've only led by 7. That's been their largest lead of the game. So it's been close on both sides, but you got to feel decent about where the Lakers are at in terms of only 3 free throws, still up 7, and really not played well on either. I'd give the offense a B, and I'd give the B minus. I'll give the offense a B minus, and I'll give the defense a D plus. D plus. Sorry, that was my phone just fell out. Walter White asking if DA is still under the weather. He is. So he was clear to play, but that might be a factor here. Grand Tear, Lakers opponents not making open threes. Wasn't it the case last year too? The ops are so shocked. They are consistently open. They second guess. That's a factor, right? And that's honestly part of what Darvin was trying to do when, remember the Dante Exum game and some of the games that happened against him. And JJ does believe in letting certain shooters shoot threes and playing off of guys, as we've seen the Lakers. Like Kuzma was a perfect example in the Milwaukee game. Lakers are fine living with him taking threes. Russ has been a guy that they've been fine taking threes. I don't think some of the guys like Svi, 1 for 3, Keontae 1 for 3, Ace Bailey 1 for 4. Maybe I don't think that you want Svi and Keontae shooting open threes. Lauri Markkanen's 0 for 3. Kevin Love's had a couple of good looks. Like they missed a slew of good looks that if that tilts in the second half, LA's defense has not been good tonight. Let's be clear. Like they've had good moments, and they do a good job with the steals, turning that into transition opportunities. And they can be an all or nothing defense where it's like they either have this like amazing steal or amazing read and like turn it into transition, or they get scored on or give up like an offensive rebound. So they do have these stretches of like looking great defensively and then looking absolutely horrific. And right now it's been more horrific than excellent. Angelo says, why you got to bring up Darvin? I'm sorry. Puppy Chow 302 with a hell of a question. Who do you think is the best defender on OKC? I think I would probably say Caruso. I think he's just to be clear, I'm not opening a beer here. I'm opening up a DC. I'm not going to give them free promo, but I think you guys know what that is. I would say Caruso. There's a number of players you could argue for. You could argue Kason Wallace. You could argue J-Dub. You could argue Dort, of course. I mean, I think Dort would probably be the consensus pick. I think that Caruso is more versatile than Dort, and like looking at the strength, like he can. I feel like the thing I like about Caruso is that he could do a little bit of everything on the defensive end at a very high level, and like Kason Wallace is like unleashing a pit bull on an opposing ball handler, and Alex can do that and pressure the ball and be disruptive and wreak havoc and cause turnovers. He could also do the Lou Dort where he's just a brick wall and you can't really drive against him, and he's pressuring the ball and he's defending wings and guards at a all defense level. But we also saw like the Jokic defense to me, and they've used him against bigs before as well. And like his ability to scale up and defend bigs, I think it's a really good problem to have where you can make the case like Wallace, I think, is leveled up defensively and is at an even higher level as a point of attack guy. Dort is always in that defensive player of the year, all defense conversation. Chet is one of the best rim protectors and interior defenders in the NBA. So like they have multiple guys you could pick from. For me, I would lean Caruso. The only knock on Caruso would be the minutes. And so like here I'm just saying like best. I'm not saying like you could argue that maybe you'd rather have Dort because he could play 10 to even 15 more minutes than Caruso on average throughout the regular season. But if we're just saying like I need a stop, which defender would I like bet my life on or have the most confidence in? I would say Caruso. SM says, Jovan, OKC so good. You see a realistic path for the Lakers to get out of the West, provided there are no injuries. Yes, I think that the best case scenario, like things could break in the Lakers' favor in the sense of with these injuries now for Denver, with no Gordon, no Brown, if Denver slips a little bit and falls into like the Denver ends up in the 4-5 and they have to play OKC, that I think it's going to be really tough for any team to get through Denver and OKC. But if you can have those two teams play each other in the second round, and then that's a probably a 7-game slugfest, and then you get one of those tired teams in the conference finals, that's probably the best case scenario for the Lakers or the Rockets or whoever else believes they could come out of the West. Now that you still have to beat them in the conference finals, so and you still have to get to the conference finals. So those are two other things entirely. But I think assuming the Lakers can make the right trade for the fifth starter and maybe even add like another rotation upgrade, like I think if you can add that player plus another high level bench player or like, bench upgrade, doesn't even have to be, if you could upgrade the Maxi spot to a better player, something like that. Plus, like in addition to getting the fifth starter, that's where I think with health and with I think some you're regressing to the mean in a positive sense, offensively progressing to the mean, whatever, in terms of the shooting and like the defense gets cleaned up and we see some progress there. Like I could see LA that's the path for LA, in my opinion. I do think it is partly contingent on Denver and OKC probably meeting earlier than the conference finals or LA not being in the same bracket. Like they're in the same bracket as them. That's going to be really tough. And even if they beat one, I think it'll be tough to beat both, but that's how I see it. Prolific says, don't think anyone beats OKC barring injuries. You're probably right. At this point, they've been so dominant but a lot of season left. Madison says, I think Lakers win 55 games and get the third seed. Certainly in play. I mean, they're on pace to, let's see where they're at now. I haven't done it since the Utah game, but I believe they're on a 61 pace here. Yeah, 60.106. So 61 pace. Van Vliet will not be back this season. So Houston is. I've actually, I've been the contrarian here with Houston, where I think they've actually been set up better without Van Vliet, but I know that's a minority opinion. BC says, "LOL, you say that yet if not for the Pacers injury, they almost blew the finals to a team that won almost 20 fewer games." Yes, but the comparison I've made with the Thunder is the 20 I compare last year's Thunder to the 2015 Warriors, and that now the hole in that argument is the 2016 Warriors technically lost, but it took like maybe the greatest comeback in NBA history we've ever seen to beat them, though they also almost lost to OKC as well. But like point being, I don't think I put stock in a team going through a championship run and surviving two game sevens. Like I do believe that like there's a reason why young teams typically the trajectory for a young team, even that Golden State team. Remember, 2013, they go to the second round. They're this surprise. Like everyone picked Denver to beat them in the first round. They beat Denver. They go to the second round against San Antonio. They lose, but they have a strong showing. It's a 6 game series. The next year, they actually lose in the first round. So like not even linear progress. They actually have a worse finish to the season, losing seven to the Clippers. Then the next year, they pop with the 67 wins and win the title. And even that team, I think if Kevin Love and Kyrie don't get injured, I think the Cavs probably win that 2015 series. So, I would die on that hill. But point being, like Golden State had a gradual progression to becoming this battle tested championship level team. And they obviously blow the 3-1 lead in the finals. But then they add KD and then they're entirely unstoppable. And then eventually won again in 2022. But I do believe once you go through a championship run, you're a different team. And even that 2000, like the 2001 Lakers are probably the best example of this, right? Of, they had the 20, the 2020, the 2000 dominant regular season, not as dominant in the playoffs, taking a 7 against Portland and down 15 going into that fourth. Also have a 6 game series against Indiana, and then that 2000 Lakers team, worse than the regular season, then they kill everybody in the playoffs. And then the 2000 team, also not as good in the regular season and not as strong of a playoff showing, but there's just like this championship medal and reliability and confidence to the group. So that's kind of how I view OKC. I don't think it's fair to compare OKC to the team that was taken to 7 by Denver or taken to 7 by Indiana. I think most of their players have looked better this season compared to even what they did last year. And I just think they're a better team than last year. And like that's why they've been so scary, is because most of these guys are not even in their primes yet. Like Caruso and Hartenstein are the two guys who are in their primes or like trending toward exiting their primes. Everybody else, Shea's going to get better. J-Dub's going to get better. Chet's going to get better. Kason Wallace is going to get better. AJ Mitchell's going to get better. Like that's what's so scary about this team. And they have a billion picks, including multiple first round picks in this upcoming draft. Like that's what's so frightening about them. But I don't think it's fair to say that they're the same team as they were in last postseason. I think if you put this team in both of those series now, I think they might win both of those series. And like against that Denver team, I think this Denver team is better. They have a much better bench. But against that Denver team and that Indiana team, I think they probably win both series in 5, personally. King's Servant, would you say things are trending towards Giannis getting moved at the deadline? I think New York and Houston can offer the best packages for him. Honestly, if I'm Houston, I would not give up. I would do whatever I can to keep Şengün and Thompson. I think Şengün is special. Oh man, Lakers. But I would if I think New York. I think if Giannis gets traded, it's New York. Madison notes with trades we have a chance though. OKC struggles against big playmakers. Yes, and just notice this. Jackson Hayes is out there for DeAndre Ayton, so I'm assuming Ayton is probably done for the night, given his health. Purple and gold pinstripes. Jovan, thoughts on Chris Magnon? He's been looking like Caruso in the G. He's been looking really good, and I hope he gets. I mean, Lakers have between Magnon and Thero, like they might have a couple guys who are worth the a couple guys who are worth shots in the rotation. Like you know could potentially plug some of the holes. But yeah, I like Magnon a lot. I think the shot and like his ultimate offensive role in the NBA are still TBD. But from what we've seen from him in limited NBA minutes and then in the G League, he looks like a future player. Grant Terry calls me an OKC Glazer, even better when they lose in round 2 this year. I mean, look, if they lose in round 2, you can give me all the heat in the world, but I hope you also let me give you some heat if they end up going like 16-3 in the playoffs. Oh, knee contusion. Okay. Knee contusion for DeAndre Ayton. Well, knee contusion is like it's a band. It's not a good word in Lakerland. BC says, haven't the last 4 or 5 champions lost in round 2? Yes. I think OKC is going to snap that though. I think they're. I mean, I would also note like they're the best defending champion we've had in a while. Like if you look at some of the defending champions in year 2, no one has been off to close to as good of a start as this OKC team has had. Nice foul drawn there by Rui. Mr. TD, Boston was supposed to repeat. That's probably the most like if we want to project this out in terms of optimism for OKC not repeating. I think Boston's probably the closest thing because they were so dominant. But if we go back to Boston plus 11.7 net rating in 2024, that was the year they won. That's a dominant net rating. Like at the time, people were saying similar things to OKC. They're one of the best teams of all time. This past year, they dropped down to 9.4. So go back to last year, and then obviously they lost in the second round to New York. So Boston statistically was a worse team. They won fewer games and they had a worse net rating. OKC right now is on pace to win more games and has a multi-point net rating better than they were last year. In addition, well, when they were one of the best teams of all time. So I that one, if they slip at some point, then I think it's a different conversation. But right now, Boston was worse their second defending champion season. OKC has been better. That's I think the scary thing. BC notes they're going down to New York before the injury. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even using the injury as an excuse. I'm just saying Boston was not as good in their second season as they were in their title season. Like I was saying, you usually see teams, it's more normal. Like the 2018 Warriors were worse than the 2017 Warriors. The 2001 Lakers were worse than the 2000 Lakers, at least in the regular season. Teams are typically worse in your defending champion season. OKC's been better. That's the scary thing, I think. Lakers transition defense strikes again. I'm going to focus back in on the game and no more OKC. Nice dish from LeBron. Austin's got to hit that. That was close to a travel from Nurkic, but Angelo asks if I've watched season 2 of Starting Five yet. I have not. I watched the first episode and I have not watched the rest yet. All right. Grant Terry says, I just don't trust OKC players outside of Shea, and their defense might be wrong, but I will revisit this stream if they go 16-3. I get it. I would say Chet has looked to me at a different level offensively than he was last year. And J Dub, I thought, progressively looked even better throughout the playoffs. So we'll see how those guys fare throughout. Like, J Dub's obviously not back yet. Chet, we'll see if he could sustain it, if he could stay healthy, but we'll see. Mr. TD says thought Coloco was getting waived. Yeah, I mean that was the report that was out there. Nothing has happened yet. That was goaltending, I thought. So the Lakers off to a poor start in this third quarter, been outscored 13-6, 4.5 minutes in. Ace Bailey. Alex asked, oh no, I like to see some Vando. And then Mr. TD said, Maxi out again. So on both fronts, Lakers going with a 9-man rotation featuring neither of them. All right, so all no turnovers this half, but the transition defense, it had been 17-8. It's now only 17-11. I don't know if I fully sometimes the way they calculate transition is a little funky, but not a good start. LA's been outscored 17-6 through the first 5 minutes of this third quarter. Mr. TD's asking who will get the call. Good question. It's going to be between Maxi and Vando. We'll see how much Vando. I made this point before. Like, I think Vando's actually looked at his best this season in small ball 5 lineups because that if you give Vando proper spacing and shooting around him, and he's the primary screener and roller, I think that's the optimal way to use Vando offensively. But Maxi, based on I was going to say Maxi's more switchable, but that's not true. Obviously, Vando's more switchable than Maxi. I was going to say Maxi for like a big has really good mobility, but I could see. I mean, I would probably go Vando, but we'll see. We'll because remember Maxi played more than 3 times as many minutes as him in that Milwaukee game, which was really the last time we saw. And Vando was a DNP CD against Utah Tuesday. Maxi played in garbage time. So actually, in the last couple of games we've seen, Maxi has played more than Vando. So this will be a true test of how much in the doghouse is Vando actually. BC asks, where do you find stats by quarters, home and away, and other splits on Basketball Reference? Good question. So if you go to the team page for the season, and I wish I could show you on the stream tonight, but so it says like at the top 2025-26 Los Angeles Lakers roster and stats. You go to that bar, it says franchise index, roster and stats. schedule and results, transactions. If you go to the other pages, there's splits, there's game logs, there's lineups, there's on off, there's starting lineups, there's depth chart. So for splits, if you click splits, it'll take you to a page that has total, has home and away, has pre All Star break, post All Star break. Obviously, we're in pre All Star break right now. Has wins and losses, has it by month, has it by day of the week, has it by days of rest, has it by team, by division, by conference. So, pretty extensive splits breakdown. You can also do it on NBA.com, which I would say might be a little bit better because you can do it by per game, totals, advanced, like the per 100 possessions, all that different stuff. So, see, Lakers coming out with Luka post up at the elbow, draws a foul on Keontae. Nice little play there. Maxi's in. So there's our answer. How deep in the doghouse Vando is that they built a second doghouse above his doghouse. Madison, do Lakers practice free throws? Zero excuses to be this poor. I can confirm the Lakers practice free throws because that's typically the only thing we get to see them practice is shooting drills and free throws, and they practice them. They just don't make them. Ay, ay, ay. That's my second ay, ay, ay of the game. The odd thing is like there are certainly some guys on Utah that are more athletic, like a Keontae, an Ace Bailey, even Laurie, depending on who's matched up with him. But like Utah also has some pretty unathletic players. So like it's not fully an athleticism thing. Kevin Love might have just gotten injured, or we'll see. Lakers just going nice offense rebound attempt by Maxi. There's a lot of contact there, but Lakers are just going into post ups right now, and I don't. They're not organized offensively. Prolific says, "How is this group going to stop dribble penetration?" And then he answers his own question with, "Apparently, the answer is not at all." That is apparently the answer. I didn't see the play, so I'm not sure if that was a block or a charge. Eh, that might be a charge. That might be a charge. I'm not. It's. I think it's close, but because it looked like Keontae was moving a little bit. Madison says, Jovan, non-playoff teams in today's NBA are way better than before. They can all shoot LMAO. Yeah, I don't know if this is in reference to something I said because I don't think I commented on non-playoff teams. But yeah, I mean, I think that is one of the biggest differences in the modern NBA compared to the prior NBA that I think on any given night with how many threes teams shoot, you can be susceptible to just getting ran off the floor or shot off the floor. Got it. Just an observation. Angelo notes the Utah jerseys are nice. I agree. I really like those. Are it's kind of an updated version of their old school ones. Prolific says Lakers still haven't recovered from the Russ trade. The talent is much improved now, but the two-way balance has remained off since that time. I would largely agree. I don't think they've had, the amount of actual two-way contributors they've had since then has not been. I mean, I think that's ultimately why the LeBron AD era never quite, got back on track. They had 2023, right? But they got swept. And then it just was never quite the same after the Russ trade. That's a whole other discussion, whole other podcast. Mr. TD, Vando should be in the G, call up a do. I mean, honestly, if you're I'm saying this partly in jest, but also partly seriously. If you're sending Vando to the G, he's probably just going home at that point and not being a part of the team. Like you don't send veteran guys to the G like that. Offensive foul on Maxi. Yeah. I mean, Lakers transition execution and I don't know. See, well, so I feel bad to ask this, but would Vando even be a top 3 scorer on the G League team? No, he would not. Like, no, I don't think so. I don't think they'd run offense for him either. He'd be the best defender, and he would be a beast on the glass. But I think they have multiple. I mean, we've already seen like I think Nick Smith and Bronny are. I have more confidence in those guys creating offensive opportunities than I do Vando. This has been a really rough quarter for LA. And now they're just getting back cut. And when it's Marcus, it's a problem because he's out there for his defense. There's not generating real advantages in the pick and roll with Maxi right now. Luca, wow, what a finish by Austin. Angelo notes that Vando's a good locker room guy. Yes, Vando's a great locker room guy, and that's why they're not going to send him to the G. They're not going to send him home, but it's obviously, I'm sure, a, somewhat of a blow to the ego to not be playing. Out my brain box 360 says that this is the third quarter Lakers, but Lakers have been much better in third quarters this season. That they have not like they have had some duds, and this is another one of them, but they've been more reliable in the third. Good defense there by Jake. Nice take by Jake. Doesn't score, but a lot of contact in the paint. Utah's gotten it seems like Utah the Will Hardy was complaining before the game about the free throw disparity last game. RJ says that he had to leave the Lakers Nation playback room because they're crying too much in there. Let's see. Dalboys 805, thank you for the super chat. Going to the game versus Dallas, what side does LA's bench sit on? Best seats to get 200 to 400 range. When is the next IRL meetup? Lastly, best LA restaurant. You Luca just hit big three. I will answer this. So they sit on um like the one. I mean, we sit on 114, which is on the same side as them. I'll pull up the crypto arena or crypto.com arena map. Lakers sit in front of 119 officially. So I would say somewhere in that 119, 118 range is right behind the Lakers bench. So I would sit, if you use SeatGeek and you use code Jovan10, you get 10% off. But I would say, so what 118 or 119 at crypto.com, that's the best seat somewhere in there. You obviously the closer you go, the more expensive it's going to be. So it depends on. I'm not quite sure with it being Black Friday, like right after Thanksgiving. Great defense there by Filipowski. I'm not quite sure, what the ultimate price will be off the top of my head, but I would say the sooner the better in terms of like I would try to purchase it today if you can. And then next IRL meetup that's a good question. Maybe I try to do one over sort of around Christmas time. But certainly overdue. I'd wanted to do one before the season. Things got a little too hectic, but definitely not one the next week before the end of the month. But I would say the goal would be to do one in December. And best LA restaurant. Let me know in the chat what you guys think. Best LA restaurant. That's a tough one. Out my brain box. Are you allowed to bet Jovan? Technically, yes. In the past, well, I don't know if I have an NBA awards vote this year. I'm going to guess not. I'm not supposed to as a media member, and I don't bet. So I guess like technically, I probably could, and it would be fine. But I don't. I don't. I'm not like anti betting, but it's not my thing. Mr. Casino says Providence. That was one of the ones I was thinking of. It depends what type of food you're looking for. I really like Republique, but that's French food. I know there's probably better French food in LA, but I like the ambiance. I like the vibe. All right, Lakers back up 81-78. My mom's in the chat. Shout out to Norma, the high early late night gang. Mo Love says La Poubelle. Maxi's been playing some spirited minutes here. Mike Hully, how long is Ainge's leash in Utah? He's done a terrible job so far. Awful draft picks. Seems to be pretty long. He also brought his son in, so that seems to he's got some power there. Man. All right, LeBron drawing the foul. Another place I've heard is great that I haven't had Bestia, Bavel. Those are two places on my list that I really want to try. You guys got me doing restaurant research during the street. This is what we're here for. But yeah, it depends what type of food you're looking for. You can't go wrong with Langers, Musso and Frank, Spago. Looking at some lists here. Those are like classic LA spots. Eugene noting about bronze cutting. I would argue that that was sort of a cut that he just had, sort of like cutting into the drive. But yeah, the off ball movement hasn't been there the same way it was the first game. Lakers down 20 seconds left. Let's see how they close the quarter. Looks like they're targeting Ace Bailey with the Laravia screen. Luca draws the foul. So big shift has been the free throw drawing. LA's attempted 10 free throws this quarter, about to be 11 and 12. Out my brain box. How long is Kessler out for? He's out for the season. He's supposed to be back next year. Wow, they just took away Bryce Sensabaugh's 3. So it's 82-81. That's a hell of a break for the Lakers there. Luca makes the first one. That was a 5-point swing for the Lakers. Take away a 3, then get 2 free throws. Turnover. Oh, jazz ball, but 0.2 left. Doesn't matter. I mean, point two, you could technically get a lob, but Angelo notes the sideline foot out of bounds feel more common this season for some reason. I mean, they're calling it like you used to not go back and call that. It just used to be if you made it, it was what it was. Now they're going back and calling it. So LA up 3 going into the fourth. Not a pretty quarter from LA. Probably their worst of the game, I would say. Outscored by 4, and we're outscored in the paint. We're outscored in transition, but did get to the free throw line. We're also are being out rebounded right now. So a lot of the factors we've talked about, rebounding battle, points in the paint, turnovers. Turnovers were fine. Only 2 turnovers in that quarter. But some of those things shifted Utah's way, but LA is up by 3. You take it. Out my brain box asks about LeBron's 10-point streak. Yes, his 10-point streak is still going. I believe it's since 2007. My mom notes for those watching on YouTube, please hit the like button. Thank you. Yes, let's get those likes up. Connor Phillips notes 10 offensive rebounds through 3 quarters is not great. Yes, too many offensive rebounds. Lakers, in contrast, only have 3. Angelo asked if I'm going to stream straight away after the game or a bit later. I'll probably take like a quick 10-minute break to just, uh, you know, bathroom break and maybe eat something quickly. But I'm going to try to go like 10 to 15 minutes after the buzzer. Puppy Chow, I'm not sure what that question is. Some guy 8822 maxi minutes weren't bad. Yeah, Maxi gave them some solid minutes. They were +7 in his minutes. Marcus leads the team +18. Mo Love asks about Lakers Collective if we're just competing for the same eyeballs. To some degree, we are, but we're not in competition when we're on the same show. So I think we felt like we were 3 of the biggest people in the Lakers coverage space, and it made sense to collaborate. All right, good start for LA. Don't love this bench combination as much together. Austin, LeBron, Gabe, Jackson, Rui, but Rui and Jackson is a good bench combination. Obviously, Rui is a starter, but in terms of bench units, those two have played well together over the years. Deep 3 from Austin. Yeah, I agree with Billy Mack. Not a good possession. Angelo says the chemistry between me, Timph, and Trevor is awesome. Yeah, I think we have natural chemistry. I mean, I've obviously podcasted with those guys. Jason, over the last 3 seasons, I've probably podcasted with Jason the most out of anybody. And then Trevor is not far behind. I've done Lakers Nation several times. He's done my show usually every couple months. So yeah, I think there's a reps element to it. We also all get along. I think we all see the game pretty similarly. So yeah, I think it's a really good combination, and I think people are really enjoying the show. Gorilla asks, "Is the Great Western Forum Pod still a thing?" Yes. So I'm technically on two trio Lakers shows, but that one becomes more of even 5 or 6 people depending on, because first half of the show is us three, and then the second half is we open it up to a couple more guests. Rod asks if we're planning to bring in guests to the Lakers Collective. Not something we've really discussed. I would tentatively say no. I wouldn't entirely rule it out, but I'm of the belief, and I'm speaking here just for me, but like I feel like 3 people on a podcast, it's especially if you're not in person. If you're in person, maybe it's a little bit different. But once you hit like 4, I think it gets a little tricky with just one to step in and making sure everybody's getting their turn. And, so yeah, I just think it gets a little tricky. Thank you, RJ, for the compliment. RJ says we all work hard and are good at what we do. I appreciate that. All right, locking in here on the game. LA's up 4, 10 minutes left. Nice defense from Jackson, but Jackson sometimes can't help himself. So one thing I noted, I got the early question about, is LeBron gonna, or like what's the change to the offense coming off of Tuesday's game? LeBron is second on the team right now in field goal attempts after being sixth on the team on Tuesday. So I think that's one real change we've seen already, has been LeBron's aggression level. Obviously, 6 for 15, not a great shooting night for LeBron, but this is the Jackson crash out phase where he picks up fouls left and right and starts to lose his composure. I will note he has not lost his composure. He's still talking to the ref there on the baseline, but for now he's okay. But yeah, it's all right. Nice finish from LeBron. Mo Love asks where Jake is. I don't know. Maybe the shorter leash tonight. I mean, I don't think he's played particularly well. He's kind of just been out there. Had some good defensive stretches, but oh, nice defense there from LeBron. See, chat's going in on Gabe. I get it. I mean, at least it looks like he's the ninth man, and that's a much better spot for him to be in than the fifth starter, which is how the season started. Airball from Austin, he's having a rough go right now. He's had some really nice finishes, but the jumper tonight has been, he is 1 for 6 on threes, 6 for 8 inside the arc. So he's had a slew of good finishes, but yeah. Madison says the team sucks at shooting. Yeah, it's been a real issue. They're 8 for 32 right now. No one has made more than 2 threes. They just have not had, the legs have not quite been there. Madison notes the shooting is bigger issue than the defense. I I'm not quite there, but I would entertain it being like a 1A, 1B problem. I think the defense is the bigger problem because the Lakers, even with the shooting woes, they get to the free throw line enough and they're so dominant inside the arc that they've still put up a top 10 level offense or thereabouts for most of the season. And obviously not having LeBron, like they've not had Luca for some games, not had Austin. So when Luca and Austin have played together, they've had an incredible offense, even with the shooting woes. So I'm still like, yes, of course, shooting has been an issue. It's been a weakness. It's been their biggest offensive weakness. It's between that and turnovers, but they've still had really good stretches of offense despite that. Their stretches of defense have been few and far between, and it's just not been great on that end. So I think that's probably the long. Like I have more confidence in their shooting at some point, rebounding to the mean and being more in line with each player's career numbers versus the defense. I think the defense kind of is what it is with this group at least. And Madison follows up about, do I think the shooting will come back around soon? I think it will normalize, but certainly there are seasons where guys just have off shooting years. So maybe for Austin or Luca, that's more like 34, 35% rather than their previous seasons in the high 30s. All right, some big transition opportunities here for LA. Filipowski going at it with Luca. I don't know if that's the best. I don't know if that's the best strategy. You piss Luca off, you're awaking the beast. Mo Love says, please talk shit and get Luca fired up. Hey, I mean, seems to be what he's doing. Really good free throw shooting tonight from Luca. 8 for 9 at the line. Here we go. Gabe on Laurie Markkinen. That was a good defense from Gabe. I mean, still got a decent look at it from Laurie, but Gabe pushed him out of his position a little bit. Luca's awake right now. Nice step back there. Well, that was a nice double drag into popping three for Laurie. Let's see, Austin. Ooh, Lakers are going to win this game, I think, but it's not been the best defensive performance, but they're figuring out they're toughing it out on the road, and despite not making any threes, basically they're still finding ways to score and be effective. Connor Phillips says, "Please don't jinx it." I'm sorry. I have faith. I have confidence. It's mainly because of number 77. That dude, 29, 7 and 7. Lakers are plus 11 in his minutes. The only thing I don't love right now is that the Lakers continue to play. Now he only played 34 against Utah on Tuesday, but Luca right now, if he closes the game, is going to end up playing 40 minutes. And I know they're coming off the break, but Luca should not have to play 40 minutes against this team. Now my mom's coming after me. I really ruffled some feathers with that prediction. I'm sorry. All right, the game's not over. Angelo says if we lose this game now, you're going to be in the doghouse with Vando. Yeah, I'm on the second floor of the doghouse. Rod notes that Laurie only has 8 points. I would say that's where LA has been much sharper, has been Laurie specifically. Like Keontae still has 24 and 5, 5 and 5. Laurie 8 points, 4 for 14 shooting, 0 for 5 on threes. I think he's gotten some good looks on threes that he's missed. So he's technically 4 for 9 inside the arc, which is like not terrible, but not good, obviously. So yeah, much better, much better defense against him specifically. In general, I think they've given up a slew of good open threes. All right, I guess this is on me if the Lakers lose. That probably was either a travel or a jump ball on Austin's first drive. I don't know that. Yeah, I mean, there was a foul on the second attempt. I just don't, that should have been a travel or a jump ball. I don't know how they didn't call that, but it's good for the Lakers. Right. Someone said get Russ. Now I know the chat is crashing out if you guys are talking about Russ. Gorilla asks if marketing gets traded to a contender, would the Pau Gasol trade to the Lakers be comparable? If he wins a couple titles, if he has that level of impact, right? Like I mean, there was a combination. Like the Pau Gasol trade, huge three there from Luca. That Lakers up 13, 6 minutes left. Step back is been sort of better tonight. He is 3 for 11 on threes, but huge shot. But I mean, it's you can't really compare. Like the Pau Gasol trade, people were furious at the price, and then it obviously worked out to the highest level of three straight finals, two titles. Like I don't know if marketing goes, gets traded somewhere. If he gets traded to Detroit and they lose in the finals and then like win the title next year, I guess that win a couple titles that would be comparable. But to your like general point of Laurie is sort of in that Powell mold of, Powell had made the playoffs a couple times and they had been swept a couple times. So I don't think he had a playoff win, I believe, until he got to the Lakers and they made the finals in 2008. But Laurie's not even played in the playoffs yet. So certainly some similarities. Drew says Luca's saving me. I did say my confidence was because of number 77. So, but yeah, Luca's carrying right now. Nice attempt there from Luca, but yeah, some creative passes we've seen tonight. And since we've talked about Laurie, he's starting to get going a little bit here. Yes, Angelo asked if the coaching staff's in the Nike Blazers. Yeah, they're in the Nike Blazer lows, but they'll wear different shoes. As you noted, they've worn the Jordans. They've worn all white, like leather sneakers. My mom says the Buha household is crazy right now. My dad's watching the game on TV. My mom's watching on YouTube, and my brother on his phone. So we got the multi stream going right now. Appreciate it. Nice finish from LeBron. Bully ball. Lakers up 11, 5 minutes left. Yusuf Nurkic. Mishra says Jokic is in the Buha household watching horse documentaries. Hey, we got a guest room. Maybe he's in there. You never know. Yeah, some really good minutes from Maxi. Just solid. Nurkic has had a better game than last game. 11 points, 10 rebounds, 2 turnovers, but just not a starting caliber center. All right, Lakers up 13, 4:40 left. Did not have a Gabe and Maxi closing on my bingo card, but here we are. Keontae George, big three. Utah now down 10 with 4.5 minutes left. Some guy, Kleba, locked down George and can stop their bigs. Yeah, he's such a versatile defender. I've really liked the Maxi minutes, and he's right now a nice like Jackson in general has been better and more reliable than at times in the past. But when Jackson, he had that little stretch there where he picked up a couple fouls and was kind of getting into it with the refs. Like, but when he has those stretches, you could just go to Maxi, and I think different type of player offensively, but defensively, really really solid. Eugene, is Maxi or is Kleba the best big in the league that doesn't score or rebound? Uh, I guess in that specific context, maybe. Mistra, how many threes does Maxi attempt a game? Well, he's at 0 for 1 right now. He's attempted one in every game he's played in, including the preseason. So he went 0 for 1 against Sacramento, then 0 for 1 against Atlanta, 1 for 1 against OKC, 1 for 1 against Milwaukee, 0 for 1 tonight. So you'd like to see a little bit more volume. Jay Spares, thank you for the super chat. Still one open roster spot, right? Anyone on the radar? Not yet. And one note with the roster spot is they cannot technically sign anybody because of how close they are to the first apron until I believe it's January 18th. It might be the 17th, but I believe it's the 18th. So they're still like a month, almost 2 months away, a little under 2 months away from potentially being able to sign someone based on the gap between where they're at and the first apron. I'm not even going to respond to what my mom is saying right now. She's jinxing me. Maxi in the mix, though. That's you like to see that from him. This is a big defensive play or possession. I meant backdoor lob for Laurie. Jazz down 8, 4 minutes left. My mom's trying to get me in trouble. All right, Lakers playing way too much ISO ball here. Just draining the clock out. Huge three from Gabe. That's gonna put the Gabe haters in a tough spot. Good D from Maxi there. Lakers have an advantage. Back to back Gabe threes, though. Okay. Is that travel or stepped out of bounds? Stepped out of bounds. So Gabe giveth and Gabe taketh away. Ashwin saying I got to stop talking. Nicholas asks, how worried are you about Aiton's injury? Not very worried right now. I've not seen the replay of it. I don't know if there's any video of it out there. I don't see. I'm not worried about it yet. But obviously, I have limited information right now. Angelo asked if I had to cover a different team city, who or where would you like? I'd have to say New York with the Knicks. I'm a big city guy, and New York's my favorite city in the US outside of LA. So that would not want to do that, but that would be my choice if I was forced. All right, Lakers up 9, 2.5 minutes left. Gabe Maxi pick and roll is a very interesting thing with Austin on the weak side. Misses the three short. Don't really love this closing lineup, specifically Gabe, I guess. But oh, deep three from Markkinen on the right wing. Lakers up 6, 2 minutes left. Steal by the Jazz. Transition. Jazz score. Lakers up 4, 1:40 left. All right. Now I'm feeling some of the heat from the chat. I really don't like the Lakers offense right now. Maxi, I, process wise, this has been a really rough close to this game from LA, just from an offensive flow perspective. And I mean, like they're lucky Ace Bailey didn't make that layup right now. Look at Maxi with the quick drive. How do you give up a wow? Okay, well, Lakers are really testing the basketball gods right now. Marking in three, Lakers up one, 40 seconds left. This has been a disaster class of offense from LA. And I'm about to get kicked out of the late night gang. I'm not going to say anything with the last possession. Didn't love that shot from Markkinen. And then don't know. I would have fouled Maxi if I was them. They let Maxi off the hook. Here we go. Luca to the line. But Maxi's a career 78% free throw shooter. I would have. I don't know why they didn't foul him. It's good for Lakers. Luca misses the first. Luca makes the second. Timeout Jazz down 6 seconds left. All right. Obviously, you got to get a stop here. This has been yeah, I'm getting it from the chat, understandably. I just I mean, so I don't understand why they're closing with Gabe over Marcus. There's been a lot of questionable over Marcus and Rui. I mean, Rui's not had the best game, but just an odd closing lineup and then a really odd process in terms of just they've been playing prevent basketball, which has been a hallmark of Lakers collapses in the past in terms of just dribbling the clock out, playing ISO ball. All right. 6 seconds left. 5.8 to be exact. Jazz ball. People asking for run it down. I mean, I think you go for the quickest basket you could get. They swapped in Smart for Gabe. Wait, Okay, Lakers survived. Uh, I mean, look, Marcus got away with a lot of contact there on Keontae, knocking him down, forcing it into Nurkic, and then really good defense there, though. And yeah, ugly game for LA, but counts the same in the standings. 12-4, 8-2 on the road now, and they are now tied with Denver for the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. So Lakers win this game 108-106. Also makes you think about the Bryce Sensabaugh wiped three that yeah, Maxi, huge play by Maxi on defense. All right, I survived. I'm not getting crucified. Got a little dicey there though. But I'm going to wrap here. I'm going to take a quick break and then Connor Phillips. Yeah, I will not. I will not be calling games anytime in the future. I got the lesson. Angelo Torres, this was really fun. Thanks, Jovan. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap here and then I'll be back on YouTube in about 10 to 15 minutes. So aiming for let's say like 7:45-ish. But appreciate you all for tuning in on playback and YouTube, wherever you are watching. This was fun. We'll definitely be doing this again very soon. And yeah, I'll see you guys in 10 to 15 minutes. But appreciate you all. Shout out to the chat, shout out to the late night gang, and talk to you all in about 5 or so minutes, or not 5, 10 to 15 minutes.